In this video, I will break down my experience with the HSK Pro and G Wolves as a company, and on screen you can see the key themes for the video. Feel free to skip over sections using the timestamps in the description if you're only interested in a specific element. Alright, here goes. So after 3 weeks, what do I think about the product? I still love it, and I haven't used any other mice in an actual game since this one arrived, despite having to use a wire, and I'll explain the wire later in the video. I know I am not alone here, as I have seen and heard from other creators who are also now maining or frequently using the HSK Pro. Their channels are linked in the description. These channels are enthusiasts in the peripheral market or AIM community, and for them to now be regularly referencing or showing the HSK Pro in their content, particularly when they have so many other options at their disposal, pays homage to the fact that the product is really very good when it works. It still feels very comfortable in hand, and since my last video, I've added the grip tape to the sides. For me, this increases the comfort and allows me to grip with an even more relaxed style because I'm not holding on to hard plastic. It's more tactile and feels grippier, unsurprisingly, and it's also increased the size of the mouse ever so slightly, and although I found it comfortable without the grip tape installed, I feel it is now more comfortable with it installed. I really like the grip tape included with the mouse. It's textured and has some depth to it, unlike the grip tape included with the G Pro X Superlight, which really just feels like a different mouse covering or coating. I mentioned in my previous video that the clicks felt a bit dull, and I think they've either worn in since I received the mouse, or I'm so used to it now that I can't notice it. The click is a bit heavier than my other mice though, and again this isn't really an issue, but I'll demonstrate it by spamming the mouse button for you now. So hopefully you can see on screen and hear it a little bit. If I click, this is about as fast as I can click it. And then with my G303, much less movement, much faster button press. Just something to be aware of, an observation I had of the click. The side buttons are excellent, and I do find myself using them as I would with any other mouse and grip style. And this was something I was concerned about when the mouse was on its way. I wasn't sure if I would be able to use them in a strict fingertip grip. The scroll wheel continues to be quite hard to press, certainly more so than it is on my other mice. And this has not worn in with time, but I'm slowly growing used to it, and I don't therefore consider it to be an issue I can't overcome. My grip on the mouse is really comfortable, and I find I can grip with a very relaxed style now that I've installed the grip tape. And the first time I picked up the mouse, I went like this. And that's now the grip that I use all the time. I've included a link in the description to Struth Gaming's advanced grip video to show you a technique I can use easily on this mouse. That's because of the position of my fingers and the low height of the mouse overall. I can perform this technique with the HSK Pro just by rolling my thumb and pinky finger whenever I need to make micro adjustments. And if you just watch for a second on screen, take a look at my thumb along here. So to do this technique, if you're going to go and watch the video, you'll know what I mean. I just pinch a little bit, and that increases the friction on the mouse pad with my thumb. Rather than relying on the skates, I can increase the friction, and the lift-off distance isn't an issue when I do that. As a result of using this technique on the mouse, I've been able to increase my sensitivity with the HSK Pro, which makes the mouse more flexible and adaptable in my opinion. I don't know if I'd be able to do this so reliably on a HSK Pro if it wasn't for the grip tape enabling a more relaxed grip, so I'd bear that in mind if you find yourself employing a def grip on yours. For those interested in my sensitivity, I was running 42 centimeters for 360 turn prior to this mouse arriving, and I am now running between 28 centimeters and 32 centimeters for 360 to good effect. I've noticed a significant improvement in my aim since the mouse arrived too, specifically increasing my success in Apex Legends and Modern Warfare 2. I'm consistently accurate, and both my flicking and tracking feels considerably better than it did on my G Pro X Superlight. The higher sensitivity I run on the HSK is also improving my ability to react in gunfights, and the shape and lightweight continue to act as an aim buff for me. I should also talk briefly about the 4K polling rate that this mouse offers, and as I have had issues with my unit, I've only played with 4K enabled in Apex Legends a handful of times. Each time I have played with it though, I've had some strange lag in game that I don't experience with my other peripherals. For example, my game seems to enter a slow motion mode and the effect was a bit like a strobe light, affecting my frame rate and input lag. And it seemed to happen when I least wanted it to, specifically in the middle of gunfights. So I've turned it off and I use 1K polling rate instead. These issues do not happen when I use 1K polling on my unit, so I find myself using this by default now, which makes me regret not purchasing the HSK Pro Ace version at the reduced price. I am unsure if this is an issue with 4K in general or my ability to troubleshoot the issue, so please bear that in mind. It may be an easy fix to resolve the issues that I'm having. Small form mice like the HSK Pro and the M2K from Zykonig are onto a good thing. The low form and the ultralight weight of their mice takes away a layer of distraction that I felt playing with other mice where I'm conscious of my grip or clicks. When I play with a HSK Pro, I don't find myself thinking about it. I just grab the mouse in a natural and relaxed way and play. I would bet that a lot of players that don't like the idea of fingertip grip would actually perform well with a small form mouse if they were open-minded about giving such a product a try. I don't think mice enthusiasts should consider this as only a good option for current fingertip grippers. A broader observation of the mouse market is that there aren't really many mice designed for fingertip grip, and all fingertip grippers find themselves using a mouse designed for claw or palm grip, which may explain why a mouse designed specifically for fingertip grip is so much better than the others I've used for this specific grip style. This is what frustrates me about the mouse market currently, and there are only two options as of right now for this sort of mouse. That is, if you don't intend to cut other mice in half, like other Redditors have suggested. One of your options is too expensive for the vast majority of people, coming in at a steep £300, that's the Zykonig M2K. The second option is so woefully poor in terms of quality control at release at a steep price tag too, that it's a huge risk to buy, particularly with the poor after-sales support G Wolves currently have in place. So, let me tell you about my experience of buying from G Wolves. And firstly, my experience is in the context of being one of the first pre-order batch customers, and the likelihood of you having these issues on the mouse now, so long after they've worked out the issues, is very unlikely. I'd consider this section of the video to be a generic beware of pre-ordering from G Wolves statement, and less of a HSK Pro 4K specific issue. On the 18th of November, I pre-ordered the HSK Pro 4K for about £150. I received the mouse almost 2 months later, which was later than expected, and this delay was due to battery issues and exploding units. When the mouse arrived, I captured my initial thoughts in the first link in the description below. The day after uploading that video, my unit became unresponsive, and I realised that I was also a victim of the G Wolves quality control lottery, so I contacted G Wolves support, who informed me that their Discord moderator was their customer services department. I contacted the moderator and advised them of the issues, to which I received 1 or 2 word responses, none of which filled me with any kind of confidence that this was going to be dealt with at all, yet alone in a timely manner. I contacted the moderator on the 19th of January, and I received confirmation a replacement had been sent on the 7th of February. That's a full 21 days later, and the product will take a further 2 weeks to arrive, and this means, assuming the mouse is issue-free when I receive it, that I will have waited 11.5 weeks from purchase to receive a working mouse. That's almost a quarter of a year. All in all, this G Wolves customer service experience has been completely below par, particularly when you consider how much the product costs, and I'm aware of many other customers in the same position. I've got a few screenshots I'll flash up on screen now. If you want to read the details and the unprofessional responses the community received from the customer services team, feel free to pause the video now. I want to be clear that I did not go searching for these examples in Discord, and there are many examples to choose from. The Discord is generally quite toxic. In G Wolves' defence, they have recently had 10-day stand-down leave due to Chinese New Year, which I personally don't celebrate, but can understand there are cultural differences that I should respect. However, respectfully, G Wolves released a mouse that they knew had issues in the weeks preceding Chinese New Year. They must have known they'd receive a high number of refund and replacement requests, and then in the period immediately after issuing faulty units, they take 10 days leave. This kind of behaviour makes me wonder how long their company will last if they plan their business and treat their customers this way. It feels comparable to the state of the gaming industry, and by that I mean organisations releasing a broken product and fix it much later while relying on the goodwill of their customers to sustain the company reputation and turnover. I'm interested to hear if you think I'm being unfair in the comments down below. During my sporadic interactions with G Wolves Gym, I followed Bearded Bob's tutorial to help me change the battery to the spare bigger battery that was included in the box, for which G Wolves didn't provide any instructions themselves, and Bearded Bob's channel is linked in the description below. The battery seemed to revive my unit, although I quickly realised the mouse wasn't charging at all, and as a result I opted to use the mouse with a wire. This was to make sure the battery lasted as long as possible while my replacement unit was processed and received. I have 3 recommendations for G Wolves. Number 1. Invest in a professional customer services team and returns process. At no point throughout this returns process have I known what was going to happen and when. Number 2. Invest in a review of your website layout, improving the likelihood that your customers will find what they need without resorting to third-party applications like Twitter and Reddit. Specifically, put all your mouse software and firmware updates in one place, preferably on the software page. Number 3. Release products when they are ready and safe. No arbitrary deadline is worth the reputational damage that a faulty unit blowing up in a customer's home has caused. You should plan your business and operations better too, i.e. not around Chinese New Year, and if you have to delay a release to ensure proper quality control, then you should probably do so. In conclusion, should you buy the HSK Pro? The issues I have had with the mouse as a person that bought from the second batch should now be fixed, and I'd expect the 1-year warranty you get with the mouse would cover any issues that you have in the short term. What I would say is that you will receive a brilliant product, if it works, and it will offer you an experience like no other mouse. So if you enjoy variety in your peripherals and want to experience the M2K feel at a fraction of the price, it's a really compelling option, and if you're in that space, I would recommend you buy the HSK Pro. If it was me and I could do this all again, I would purchase the Ace version of the mouse when the dust had settled from the pre-ordered units. The Ace version is lighter than the 4K, and the 4K on my unit only causes me issues, so you could save yourself some pennies there. My broader observation of G Wolves as a company is that their pre-order experience is awful from a customer perspective, and I would recommend you do not pre-order from G Wolves until the quirks are ironed out, a month or so after release. I certainly will not pre-order from G Wolves again. So that concludes my follow-up review of the HSK Pro and G Wolves Customer Services Department. I hope this has helped you decide if it is right for you. Stay tuned for more interesting videos, and I will chat to you soon enough.